Most animals survive by doing one simple thing. They run. A rabbit runs from a fox. A fish darts away from a predator. A bird takes off before danger gets too close. But plants? Plants can't do any of that. They can't run. They can't hide. They can't scream. They can't bite back. So what happens when a hungry caterpillar starts eating a leaf? At first, it looks like nothing. Just a tiny insect taking tiny bites from a silent green thing that cannot escape. But inside that leaf, something has already started. A signal begins to move. Chemistry begins to change. The rest of the plant starts getting warned. And very soon, that caterpillar may discover something surprising. This helpless plant is not helpless at all. It simply fights in a way we are not used to seeing. We often imagine plants as passive life. They stand still, they grow slowly, they wait for sunlight, rain, and time. But plants are not just background decoration for the animal world. They are constantly sensing their environment. They can respond to light. They can grow toward water. They can react to touch. They can detect changes in temperature, gravity, chemicals, and damage. The difference is, plants do not respond like animals. They do not move with muscles. They do not think with a brain. They do not feel pain the way we do. Instead, they use something slower, quieter, and surprisingly complex. Signals. Chemical signals. Electrical signals. Hormonal signals. Airborne signals. To us, a plant may look still, but biologically, it is always listening. Imagine a caterpillar crawling across a leaf. For the caterpillar, this leaf is food. Soft, green, easy. Then, it takes the first bite. The plant's cells are damaged. Their contents spill out, and that damage becomes information. To the plant, this is not just a missing piece of leaf. It is a warning. Something is attacking. Near the wound, the plant begins changing its internal chemistry. Signals start spreading from the damaged area to other parts of the same plant. It is almost like a biological alarm system. Not a conscious alarm, not a thought, not a feeling like fear, but a real response. The injured leaf is basically telling the rest of the plant, prepare. Something is eating us. This is one of the most fascinating things about plants. A single wound can trigger a signal that moves far beyond the damaged area. The caterpillar may only be eating one leaf, but other leaves can begin reacting too. They may start preparing chemical defenses before they are even touched. Think of it like a city hearing that one gate has been attacked. The entire city does not wait until the enemy reaches every street. It starts preparing early. That is what makes plant defense so interesting. A plant does not need to see the caterpillar coming. It can receive internal signals from the part that has already been attacked. And once that message arrives, the plant begins to change. Quietly, but effectively. Once a plant detects attack, it can begin producing defensive chemicals. Some of these chemicals make the leaf taste bitter. Some make it harder to digest. Some interfere with the growth or feeding of insects. Some plants strengthen their tissues, making future bites more difficult. And many plants use defense hormones, like jasminates, to coordinate their response to herbivores. To the caterpillar, this is bad news. The meal that seemed easy a minute ago is slowly becoming less comfortable. The plant is not chasing the caterpillar away. It is changing the battlefield. That is the key idea. Animals often survive by moving their bodies. Plants survive by changing their bodies. A plant cannot run from danger, so it turns itself into a worse place to eat. But plants do not only send signals inside themselves. Some plants can also release tiny chemical messages into the air. These are called volatile organic compounds. To us, they may just be smells. The fresh scent of cut grass, the green smell of crushed leaves, the strange scent of a damaged plant. But in nature, smell can be information. Nearby parts of the same plant may detect it. Nearby plants may respond to it. And insects may notice it too. A damaged plant can change the air around it. It can send out a chemical message that says, "Something is happening here." That is not language like human language. There are no words, but it is still communication. Information leaves one living organism and changes the behavior of another. And that is already incredible. Now here is where plant defense becomes almost unbelievable. Some plants do not just defend themselves directly. They call for help. When certain insects feed on them, plants can release chemical scents that attract the natural enemies of those insects. For example, a plant being eaten by a caterpillar may release a scent that helps parasitic wasps find the caterpillar. The wasp is not coming because it loves the plant. It is coming because the caterpillar is useful to the wasp. So the plant creates a signal that brings predator and prey together. The caterpillar thinks it has found lunch, but the plant has just sent out an invitation to the caterpillar's enemy. That is a brilliant strategy. The plant does not need legs. It does not need teeth. It does not need to attack directly. It can use chemistry to recruit another organism into the fight. So does all of this mean plants feel pain? Not in the way animals do. Plants do not have brains like ours. They do not have nervous systems like ours. They do not have pain receptors like animals. So we should be careful. A damaged plant is not experiencing pain the way a dog, a bird, or a human might. But that does not mean nothing is happening. Plants can detect damage. They can send signals. They can activate defenses. They can warn other tissues. They can change their chemistry. And in some cases, stressed plants may even produce ultrasonic sounds that humans cannot hear. The point is not that plants are secretly animals. The point is that plants are living systems with their own kind of awareness of the environment. Not awareness as a feeling, but awareness as response.
This is where plants become really interesting. They solve problems without a brain. They coordinate responses without nerves. They survive attacks without running. They communicate without words. And they build strategies without consciousness in the human sense. That may sound strange, but nature is full of systems like this. Your immune system protects you without needing conscious thought. A colony of ants can solve complex problems without one ant understanding the whole plan. A forest can respond to change through countless small interactions happening at once. Plants belong to that world. They are not passive objects. They are active, living systems. They just move at a speed and a scale that makes us underestimate them. So the next time you see a leaf with bite marks, remember this. That leaf is not just damaged. It may be part of a much larger response. Signals may have moved through the plant. Defensive chemicals may have started forming. Scents may have entered the air. Other organisms may have been drawn into the scene. From the outside, it looks quiet. But quiet does not mean simple. A plant cannot run, so it does something smarter. It listens. It reacts. It prepares. And sometimes, it calls for backup. And this is only the first layer, because above the ground, plants send signals through leaves, scents, and chemistry. But below the ground, something even more surprising is happening. Roots and fungi can form living networks that connect plants together, exchange nutrients, and reshape entire forests. Some people call it the Wood Wide Web. And in the next episode, we are going underground, into the hidden network beneath the forest floor.